I like it. Preseason, not going to get too excited, but your New Jersey Devils go into Madison Square Garden and beat the New York Rangers by a score of 3-1. Oh, welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And, business as usual. Your New Jersey Devils go to the Garden, beat the Rangers 3-1. Not the greatest game for the Devils. Definitely not the worst. It's preseason. I do feel like some guys are going 100%. Some are not. I mean, it is what it is. It's preseason. We may have lost Brett Pesce. Hopefully we get some news on that soon, but what a disaster that would be. I'll talk about the whole Pesce thing more in a minute. You guys are talking complete nonsense in the chat, completely derailed. We get to the goals, and that first goal in that first period, oof. Arseny Gritsuk feeding Cotter on a beautiful rush. I mean, wow, what a play. I think these guys are going to do damage for as long as they're together, and like we've talked about before, there is a good chance Gritsuk plays himself into a top six role at some point, but for now, him and Paulie Cotter are going to do damage. They both got some jets, some nice hands on them, and Gritsuk just feeds him beautifully. Paulie buries it, gives the Devils the 1-0 lead. That is how the first period would end, and in that second period, just an unfortunate error and ricochet, crazy bounce. Nemitz goes to clear the puck, obviously, and Edstrom in on the forecheck and just comes, I think it hit his leg or whatever, banks right off of him and past Markey. I mean, what a fluke goal. Terrible luck for Shimo Nemitz. Not a huge deal. Obviously, you don't want to see decisions like that with the puck in the D zone in the regular season or playoffs, but preseason, if you're going to make a play like that, better to do it now than later. But unfortunate mistake by him. Rangers get that lucky goal there. Tied up at 1 after 1. We get to the third period, and on the power play, Pally in front of the net. Nice little redirect for Pally. A little bit of luck there, but, sometimes you got to score him like that. Pally gets his first of the preseason, assisted by Dougie and Shimon Nemitz, giving the Devils the 2-1 lead, and that's how it would stay till the closing moments of the game, where the dog, my man, the dog, for all the people that just have talked smack on Dawson Mercer, like, come on, guys, come around. Dawson Mercer is a player, and like we've talked about, you can put him out there in all scenarios, power play, penalty kill, late in the game, protecting a lead. And there he is again, out late in the game, protecting a lead. He had a sort of failed clearing attempt, I think, right before the sequence for the goal, but he did do a good job of kind of staying in the play and allowed someone else to get it out. And then eventually he gets the puck and just puts it in the empty net to seal the game. 3-1 New Jersey Devils victory, assisted by Nico. Markey I thought was pretty good, but let me see. We'll get to the game stats here. Devils 13 shots on goal. Obviously would like to see more than that. The Devils did, I feel like, control portions of the game and then kind of relinquish it, but 13 shots, obviously not ideal. Got to get that way up, but they did create some chances. The Rangers did block a good amount. We'll get to that, but face-offs, Devils 59.1%. It's a nice margin there. Rangers 40.9%. Devils 1 for 1 on the power play for 100%. Rangers 0 for 1 on theirs. Devils 18 hits. Rangers 23 hits. Devils with the 10 block shots. Rangers with 18, and some of them were pretty big to deny quality scoring chances. Devils 7 giveaways, Rangers 6 giveaways, Devils 0 takeaways, the Rangers 2 takeaways, and that is your game stats. Yeah, 13 shots, not very inspiring, but hopefully, they figure it out. Like I said, preseason, I'm never going to get too high or low from these games. I do think there's obviously a portion of people who, put way too much stock into it, but it was nice to see nearly the full NHL club get the win, regardless of the low shot total. Where's Markey's numbers here? Jacob Markstrom, pretty sharp. Pretty sharp game by Markey. Made some big saves. I think the biggest one was it Lafreniere that came in on that, had that backhanded chance in tight. I think it was Lafreniere. Big save there by Markey, and he finished the night. I lost it on my screen here. Yeah, with a .950 save percentage. 19 saves on 20 shots. Solid outing for Markey. You love to see it. Another kind of story coming out of this, unfortunately, is Pesce. I think he blocked a shot and didn't come out for the third period. That would be super, super unfortunate. If we lose Brett Pesce early on, I mean, like it's almost comical at this point. It's like this team needs to stay healthy. Nason was back on the ice today, still at practice earlier in the day, still unclear on his timetable to return to the lineup, but it's just like we could never have our full group ever. And injuries to big names, especially when you lose some of your bigger name players for stretches of time, it sucks. And it hasn't happened yet, but Pesce would be a sizable loss to this team and the defense specifically. And we've talked about before, defensive depth. This is why Fitz wanted to accumulate a lot of defensemen, because the unfortunate reality is this game is brutal and you will probably rarely have all of your guys available at once. We already had Kovacevic out till who knows how long. Some people, I think, are speculating January. I think I've heard February. We don't really know. And no one probably knows the real answer to that. It'll just kind of see how he heals as time goes on. But Kovacevic already out for a while. And now Pesce might be down. And this could potentially be, I think, a chance for Seamus Casey. Once again, kind of the guy that probably would be on the outside looking in. I mean, is the guy on the outside looking in after Luke signed. And if Pesce's out, I think they're going to rely on Casey. Another potential chance for Casey to get in with injuries. And it's why it's a good thing to have guys stocked up for blue line pieces. Just guys are hurt all the time. It really sucks. I hope they announce tomorrow that he's fine. But if he's out, this could be yet another opportunity for Seamus Casey. But love to see the stacked blue line for things like this. And we still have Edwards and Chalowski in case. I mean, you guys were talking crazy stuff in this chat here. Let's get to some of these comments. You guys are talking about baseball. What's the score of that? I heard 4-0 before. Jersey Roots is going on. AO Paisan and all the other Dirty Devil Barbarians. Oh boy. Alex, haven't been in stream in a minute because of college, but good win. Signed. Good stuff. I don't know exactly what that means, but enjoy college, Alex. It goes quick. Oh, Luke signed. Yeah. Justin, what's up, Ace? What's going on, Justin? Traveling says, I'm guessing Luke is playing versus the Flyers. You would think, but at this point, who knows? He was on the ice for both sessions earlier today, getting in extra work, so he skated with both groups. You would think they would want him to get some shifts in a game of some kind, and so the Flyers game Saturday afternoon at 12:30, I believe, is the last one of the preseason before they got to gear up for the real thing. I hope Luke. I was hoping to see him play tonight, honestly, but I guess they're going to ease him into it a little bit. He was on the ice both sessions. I'd expect he will be at every practice, and maybe in there for the Flyers. Very curious to see who else plays in that one, but I think you might see a lot of the NHL regulars. The four directions, nothing ticks me off more than people lose their mind over preseason games. Yeah, I mean, it's preseason, guys. I mean, what do we... Brendan, positive standouts of the game from what I saw: Nemitz, Timo, Palat, Gritz, Kotz, Pesce. Yeah, well, I'm hoping that Pesce's not injured, because that would just, oh my God. The injury black cloud just hovers over this team. And it's like, if it's not the guys that you're almost accustomed to getting hurt, it's like, all right, now we got Pesce hurt. Hopefully not, but man, Gritsuk, though. I mean, Gritsuk, he really, I wanted to temper my expectations for him coming into the season, just because so many people were so high on him. And we've seen this before with other players around the league and with the Devils, and they hype these guys up and they come here and you're like, this was not what I was expecting. But so far, man, Gritsuk really looks like the real deal. And could he be a real top 6 threat? I think he could. Now, I don't know, again, how long they wait to really push that. Maybe he will be in the bottom 6 for an undetermined amount of time. But, and I do like, at the moment, I do like Dadonov. My mind just went blank with Brat and Jack for now. But if the season goes on, it's like, all right, maybe, he's not doing a terrible job, but maybe if we throw Gritsuk up there, we could kind of elevate it a little bit. I think you might see it happen. But for now, I mean, him and Cotter both got the burners. Some nice speed with the two of them, and they both have those nice hands. I do think Cotter and Gritsuk together in that bottom 6 is a problem for a lot of teams. A real problem. Codes says rather Grits get a shot in top 6 over Mercer. And again, I think he's going to have Mercer, I'm talking about, is going to have his chance. But if he doesn't make the most of his opportunity, I could totally see Gritsuk bumping him to the bottom 6. But I'm rooting for Mercer. I think he's going to have some opportunity this year, and maybe he could, elevate that game and produce a little bit more like a lot of you are so desperate for. But I'm hoping to see it too. Travelin says, I'm getting excited for the season. Oh, Travelin, I've been excited for a while. When camp opens, that's kind of like the first, all right, let's go. Now we have, we're seeing the guys on the ice. But I don't want to get too, optimistic, I guess. But I do have a good feeling about this team. But it all relies on health, obviously. And if Pesci's down, that's a big hit. The 4 directions, not yet Codes, maybe later. Not yet Codes, maybe later on if he keeps producing. Don't want to throw him into the deep end too quickly. Yeah, I agree. I think everyone's getting super excited about Gritsuk. I mean, how could you not, right? We've heard about him for so long. Then he finally comes here. He's having a strong preseason. You see the flashes where you're like, this kid could be legit. But I do think you're right. They are going to use some sort of caution. They're not going to just be like, all right, kid, go do it in the top 6. Like maybe he plays a few weeks, a month, 2 months. Who knows what the thought process will be. But I think the potential is definitely there. But I also think him in the bottom 6 is obviously going to make the bottom 6 much better as well. So you kind of look, it's a delicate balance, I think. How do you optimize your lineup for the overall most positive? And so I do think there's a chance where it's like Gritsuk could maybe outperform Dadonov on the top 6, but Gritsuk in the bottom 6 is more valuable to the team because he's going to generate that much more from that, if that makes sense. Probably not to a lot of you, but yeah, Gritsuk, big wild card. Jersey Roots is going to be a barbaric season. Jesse, love the look of that Cotter line. I can't wait to see how they play when they're fully trying. Let's go, boys. Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting season, guys. Again, I'm trying not to get too optimistic and because I feel like I do kind of do this a little bit to myself every year, or at least for the past few years, because there's been so much to be optimistic about. And then the injuries happen and then, everything else. But fresh season, and I think these guys are looking for some redemption. The 4 directions, if I have a spot on the roster, I'm gliding out there. No risk getting hurt. Krungs, wait, 0 takeaways. Didn't Meyer pickpocket? I mean, who knows how they, I find that hard to believe too. But who's the one scoring these stats? I always wanted to know, like, in depth how those are getting recorded. The same with hits. And Cotter was out there crushing people. I didn't do the player stats. Shame on me. Let's see what we got here. Cody Glass with 2 shots. Nico with an assist. Anything else? Pally had a goal, obviously, on his only shot. Timo, a shot and a block. Paulie Cotter with a goal, 2 shots and a block and 3 hits. What a stat line for my man Paulie. Love to see it. You guys know I love Paul Cotter. 1 goal, 2 shots, a block, and 3 hits. Let's go, Paulie. Yeah, him and Gritsuk could do some real damage together. I think Cotter, honestly, will be the one to suffer the most if Gritsuk gets that top 6 promotion. I think Paulie with Gritsuk, I think could really benefit him in that bottom 6. And that's why I think we might see Gritsuk there, but who knows? Gritsuk is a potential top 6 talent. And if he's playing in the bottom 6, that helps Paulie Cotter, right? I mean, let's be real. And the 2 of them together so far, it's a lovely sight to see. Quiet game for Bratter. I thought he had a block. Gritsuk with 3 hits and his assist. And only 11 minutes. Yeah, he only saw 11 minutes, and he had 3 hits. 3 hits and an assist. Like to see that. Dawson Mercer with the goal to ice it with his 3 shots. Dilly with 5 hits. All right, Dilly. With a block and 5 hits. Dougie with 3 blocks and a hit. Shimo Nemitz with an assist on that power play goal. Pesci with a shot. Tobias Villain, 2 hits. Jonas Siegenthaler, 3 hits. He had that little skirmish with Trocheck. But, it's preseason, guys. Again, I'm not going to get too excited, but the real thing is so close, and I am getting excited. Bobby, thank you for the super, sir. What's up, Ace? Solid game. Not great, but good. Grits and Cotter might have something special, and his Pesci hurt. Also, the refs missed a lot tonight. Thank you, Bobby. Much appreciated. Yeah, I totally agree. Solid game. Not great. Good game. They got the win. We saw more Gritsuk magic. Markey looked sharp. And I do think Grits and Cotter together are lethal. I've just been talking about it, I feel like, for the past couple minutes. I do think that is going to be a tandem we're going to see together for as long as Gritsuk is in the bottom six. I like it a lot. And Pesci, we haven't heard anything, or at least I haven't seen anything. Let me check. And that would be an unfortunate loss for this club. I think James Nichols just tweeted something about it. I know that was about, okay. Oh, yeah, so he did. No update on Brett Pesci. Keith said he'll have to be evaluated to see if he'll miss time. Oh, man. Absolutely brutal. We need Pesci to be healthy. We certainly do. Justin says, anytime the Rangers lose, it's always a great day. Let's go Devils. John Fay, it'll be a very great and interesting season for the Devils. I certainly hope so. The four directions, worst part is we got a tough schedule this month. October schedule, brutal. Talked about it a million times. Absolutely brutal schedule. Tasha said I might go full Doomer mode if Pesci is injured. I'm not going to go Doomer mode. It takes a lot for me to go Doomer mode, for real. But Pesci being injured sucks. But again, credit to Fitzy for the people that just, there are some people that no matter what Fitz does, they will just bash him for everything. And they're extremists and most likely doomers and I don't know whatever else. But you have to give Fitz the credit for not only revamping the defense from that horrific outing in 23-24, but it is deep. It is the deepest it's been in years. And the depth is going to come into play probably right now. If Pesci, even if he misses 2 weeks, hopefully he misses nothing. But if Pesci's out, we might see Casey get another chance. It's crazy. All these injuries. Oh, man. I'm scanning here. I'm trying to catch up. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. Tasha says, Pesci injured would be insane. We can't have our full D-core for a minute. In fact, I'm not sure we've had our entire D-core uninjured for more than a month. No, I don't think so. David says, Vegas over-under for the Devils' points this season is 99.5. You take the over or under? I saw someone talk about this on, I don't know. I think it may have been, it was a Devils preview. It may have been, was it Dangle's guys and Dangle? I think it was. I got to take the over on 99.5, David. I got to do it. I think this is going to be a big year for a lot of guys. They just have a different kind of swagger about them. And I'm hoping, that it's not setting me up for an epic disappointment. But I just have a good feeling about this team, and I'm taking the over on 99.5. I got to really sit down and look at things. I'm going to have a whole predictions video, probably with like some player stuff and the team overall. But I will say 99.5, I think, is an easy over for me. Greg Gritz looks really good. Really perfect pass on that Cotter goal. Yeah, it was awesome. It was completely awesome. Big sense as broadcasters were glazing so hard. It was so cringy. Yeah, I mean, very Homer-ish broadcast and commentary, but what are you going to do? The OG NJ Devils fan, Grits looks way better than Loktionov and Gusev. Gusev had some moments. I mean, there was some times where I'm like, is this guy going to put it all together? But unfortunately, it didn't work out. Four directions. We got to start bubble wrapping these guys. Cannot catch a break. But being optimistic, this gives our younger guys, I guess, a chance to step in and potentially make some strides. Yeah. Traveling Devil says Grits is going to be a good setup guy. Well, hopefully he's a good put the puck in the net guy too, but I will never complain about some beautiful assists like we saw there tonight. T. Anon, it's only a preseason game, but beating the Rags makes me smile. I mean, yeah, there's not much better than, I mean, obviously winning a playoff series, but beating the Rangers in any sort of game is great. Preseason definitely loses a ton of the luster for me. But you rather win than lose for sure. But it was nice to see Gritsuk again look very good and Markey looking sharp. And now the boys just have one more before the regular season. And man, oh man, it is quite the hellacious start to the season. And we're starting off in a house of horrors in Raleigh, North Carolina, where it all ended last year in just devastating fashion. Absolutely devastating fashion to end the year. Army, Grits looks like he's got the shot, IQ, and speed to eventually develop into a first-line left wing. For sure. And, man, he's on a one-year deal, too. Imagine he just goes crazy and we can't afford to keep him. I hope it doesn't happen. But, like, that's the reality. He's on a one-year deal. Like, let's make it a good year. Hokage, 3 an O if it wasn't for that deflection. Either way, a win is a win, even if it's only the preseason. You can't, you can tell most guys are only going like 25 to 50% effort. I mean, that might be a little low, but yeah, you could tell it's not, 100% regular season intensity. Craig, Kia Ora, Ace, Markey stalled that one. Some timely saves, especially in the third. Let's go Devils for sure, Craig. A solid outing for Markey, and he's going to be a big key to the Devils' success this year. Can we see the Jacob Markstrom again that we saw early last season? The Markey from Seattle. Do you guys remember the Markey we saw in Seattle? Oh my God. I think he made like 3 save of the year candidates in that one game alone. There was a crazy glove save. There was one where it was just completely insane outing. And Markey, I feel like had several games in that stretch where you're like, this man is Superman. And if we get this Markey every night, we're going to win a cup. I think he's dialed in, and I think he is capable of giving us that. If he could stay healthy, which hopefully he does, that was kind of a weird injury he got last year. If Markey could play like that fairly regularly, I mean, listen, no goalie is going to be perfect. Everyone's going to have their off nights. But anywhere near that level of play from Jacob Markstrom consistently, and I think this team is going to be lethal. Tasha says, who do we think hates Messier more, the Canucks or Devils fans? I'd imagine Devils fans. Jesse, did everyone out there see Paulie mess with Quick after the buzzer and Quick gave him a shove for it? Can't believe we have to wait almost all season to play the Rags. Gonna be some fireworks, heavier, edgier, more violent. No. The final buzzer or after one of the periods? I'm curious to see that. I also want to look something else up real quick. I wonder. They were both in Vegas in 22-23. Quick was only there for a short time when he was dealt, but they were both in Vegas, and I wonder if there's a backstory to that. That's an interesting one. I'm going to have to do some more research. Does Paulie and Quick have a little thing? Mostly crazy all the time. Can you imagine being a Wild fan now knowing your one winger costs more than Jack and Luke? I mean, the guy's an elite talent. He got paid, but Wild. But I told you guys from a couple months ago, with the cap news, you're going to see Wild contracts. You're going to see Wild contracts. Dennis says, come on, peeps, give Ace the like. Thank you. Don't be stingy. Hit that thumbs up for your boy. Bobby, thank you. Also, Nemitz owes Markey a beer, cost him a shutout. Yeah, that ill-advised play that he made did cost Markey the shutout, but it's a preseason shutout. But still, a shutout nonetheless would have felt really good for Markey for sure. But he definitely owes him at least a beer. I'm going to say he owes him probably a dinner, Bobby. A beer is, I think he's getting off too easy. Tasha says, yeah, it's actually crazy to think every single one of our regular D-core was injured and or missed time last season. That is seriously wild. Yeah, the misfortune in terms of staying healthy is very real. And I hate to use that as an excuse because it is what it is, right? Next man up and yada, yada. But it's just been an unprecedented level of injuries to so many guys in the past couple of years. Jesse says, smash. 4 directions. You can't even make that up either. It was actually ridiculous. 4 directions. Let's not count the eggs before they hatch. We got depth on defense. Yeah. And again, to the people, that bash fits about everything. The Kovacevic deal, I thought was great. And not only do I think he's a good player for this team and brings a little snarl to that D, but he signed for $4 million. I mean, if he signed months later after the cap stuff came out, he would have got way more. Unfortunate that he's injured right now, but injuries are a real thing, and having a deep blue line is a necessity. If Pesci's down right now, that's 2 of our what would have been starting defensemen, your main defenseman in your top 6. 2 of them wiped out because Kovacevic prior to this would have been there. Now you're talking about 2 guys wiped out, and then in step Nemitz, who I do not think will relinquish the spot. So that is a whole nother interesting kind of side story. But Nemitz and Casey potentially in their place. Tasha, it was an exaggeration. If Pesci is injured, I'll be doomer about the injuries, but not about the squad. We've got crazy depth. Yeah, and again, I'll give Fitz the credit there, all the credit in the world. Revamped the blue line and has depth there. Has beautiful depth. Greg says we have the depth. If Pesce goes down, take your choice, Edwards or Casey. Yeah, it seemed like Casey, I don't know. He just had some really good games after the Edwards hype train. And maybe I did get a little too high on Edwards super quickly. But like I've talked about him for a while, and he always looked good to me. And so when he actually did good, it got me a little excited. But I expect him to marinate a little bit down in the AHL playing with Utica. And who knows, maybe next year he's ready. But yeah, we have a lot of defensemen. It's a great luxury to have. David, wouldn't mind a year of Glendening as 4C. Fine vet on PTO. Let Cotter and Mercer play wing up and down the lineup and a shot at earning a top 6 slot. Yeah, I think they like Glendening. I think they're going to have to figure out where to find the money to sign him. It seems like he is going to be the guy. I also think Lamico, I meant to look up that too. So many things. Talking about injuries. Juho Lamico, injured at practice. I don't remember. Did I see an update on that? I don't know if we even got one. But yeah, it's just like crazy. The injuries are just... is there an update on that? Yeah, he was injured at practice, and then there was nothing else ever said about him as far as I could see. So I think the 4C position was one of the only spots that were kind of up for debate, and it was going to be between Lamico and Glendening, and Lamico might be hurt now. Tasha says, I really love the Cotter Gritsu chemistry. Keefe will probably let it cook for a while, and if Dadonov was good, I say let him. Yeah, the bottom 6 is hopefully going to be much, much, much better than last year, and I don't see how it wouldn't. Like I said, the bar is low. The bar is super low. Joaquim De Silva Plot in his line overall looked good today. Yeah, Pally in the bottom 6 with the right guy with him. Brown, maybe we see a little resurgence from him. Maybe we get the best version of Plot we could possibly get, and he could help the bottom 6. Because last year, as we all know, absolutely brutal. Ethan, would you do Nico 20-plus goals, Jack 30-plus, and Quinn 20-plus goals, and Markey 20-plus wins? I don't know what you mean by would I do that. But Nico should score 20-plus every year, as Jack should score 30-plus every year, and Quinn 20-plus is probably a pretty fair bet as well. Tasha's Glendening better than Lamico in my book. Unfortunately, Lamico hasn't impressed me like I thought and predicted he would, but you know. What's going on, Devil Heaven? David says SST is really Sam Rosen occupying himself in retirement, trolling Ace. I don't think so. What's going on, Cisco Kid? How sweet it is. Chowski, hey Ace, hope everything has been good with you. Can't wait for the season to start. The boys are going to have an amazing year. Looking forward to every live stream here on out. What's up, Chowski? And that's a great photo. And I always like to try to see if I could pay attention to some of these profile pictures that some of you guys have. Because Chowski has an absolutely amazing one, which is a photo, kind of slightly aerial shot of Scott Stevens heading through the tunnel into the locker room with the 2003 Stanley Cup after Game 7. One of my favorite, in a long line of them, but one of my favorite Devils photos for sure, Chowski, is that one that's in your profile. It's an amazing photo of Scotty walking down the tunnel. Greg, if Pesce is down, it's time for Edwards or Casey to step up. Absolutely. I think it will be Casey, but Edwards is there as an option as well. Devil Heaven says Glendening makes this team. I think we're going to see it. I think we are going to see it. And Natasha said Edwards and Casey are both semi-injured right now, though. Yeah, Casey seemed like it was a day-to-day thing. But yeah, if we're counting like little guys getting like nicked up and stuff, it's crazy. The injuries are already happening, and it's just training camp and preseason. It's rough. SST said, I think I might do a call-in during the season. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Craig, after the final horn, Cotter kept the puck for a few seconds, and it looked like he tried to put it in the net. Quit did not like that. The Devils fans did. So, yeah, I missed that. I'm going to have to find that clip. Paulie the Agitator? Paulie Cotter the Agitator? I love it. David Nemo also may have saved a goal in the third, batted a puck out of the air that looked like it was heading to the back of the net. M. Sharp says, Quick went to the same high school as me, not at the same time. Did he grow up in Connecticut? I think he's a Connecticut guy. I'm trying to scroll through all you people fighting in the chat here. Larry says, Edwards wasn't the best defenseman coming out of the Prospects Challenge. That honor belonged to, it's actually, I think it's Mikhail Diot. He looked very good. Diot did look very good, and I always forget about him. Thank you for bringing him up. He's, to me, kind of in that, probably the one tier below, I would imagine. The one tier below the Casey Edwards kind of grouping. And he's going to be in Utica this year. Yeah, Utica is going to have some decent guys. Four Directions, Plot overpaid, but he's such a dog. Yeah, I think if he wasn't making the $6 million, people wouldn't talk about him nearly as much. I do think he has a value to this team, and hopefully they figure out the best place to utilize him. Hopefully it's not on the top line with Brad and Jack, obviously, because that would mean that the other guys that get auditions there flopped. But with the right line mates, can Pally be a regular contributor in that bottom six to not make it such a black hole? And I think he can. And that's just another thing to be excited about. SJ Mercer plays well with our best players. Put him with Nico, Timo, or Jack. He's going to have opportunity this year. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for Dawson, it seems. Will he seize it? Krungs, I agree. I was very low on Plot last season, but he seems a little more alive, even if it's just preseason. Tasha said, I'm going to change my profile picture soon, but I'm not sure what to do yet. Is that an ocean? It's hard for me to tell. Is that water with the waves? Sam Rosen retired, Devil Heaven. Where have you been? They made a huge thing about it. Devil Heaven, our final lines opening night are going to be pretty much what you saw tonight, I believe. Let me see. Do I have these things? Yeah, it's going to be the 1 second. These are going to be the lines. Dadonov, Jack, Bratter, Timo, Nico, Mercer, Palat, Glass, Connor Brown. And then the fourth line is going to be probably Cotter, Glendening, and Gritsuk. I think those are going to be the lines. Now, how long we stick with them remains to be seen. But I do think that's how it's going to start. Diot was great in Buffalo. Crunk says Diot is a solid AHL lifer. I'm not sure if he makes it to the NHL. At least with the Devils, his path is it would probably take a series of injuries, I would imagine, but you never know. Maybe he is a career AHLer, but he did look pretty good to me in the Prospects Challenge. Hokage, Cotter was just trolling Quick. It was entertaining, nothing malicious. It was a bump that Quick gave him. Yeah, they played together for a very brief time in Vegas. I'm curious if they're if they're friendly or they know each other, would they consider themselves friendly? Yeah. Four Directions, every cup winning team has had a Palat type player. Every cup team usually has several Palat type players, bottom six grinders that could score timely goals, that could give you that hustle, give you the high compete level, and just do everything they can to help their team win. Every successful cup winning team has at least a couple guys like that. And I would love to see Pally just have a kind of resurgence in the bottom six with Connor Brown. Justin Smith says, let's go Devils. I'm hungry. Brandon Thomas, it's kind of nice knowing we got D-men, but getting injured, we have a nice backup. Hopefully the D-man injury stop. Hopefully all the injuries stop. This team has been decimated. It's probably not an easy thing to look up, but I'd imagine in terms of man games lost, the total amount of games for each player combined, man games lost in the past couple seasons has to be amongst the highest in the league. It would have to be. Taj said, Luke this morning says he hopes to play his entire career in Jersey. It was just music to my ears. Yeah, I mean, I don't put too much stock into player quotes like that, but obviously after he signed, he did want to be here. He wanted the money to work out. I do think there's a good chance he does play his whole career in New Jersey. Essentially, this contract takes him to when he will be 29. And he'll probably sign another long-term one, I'd imagine, somewhere, hopefully with the Devils. And then he might have one short one after that. But yeah, even if he has a very long NHL career, one more big contract after this. But I do think it's only a matter of time before we get Quinn Hughes, guys. I've talked about that. We've all talked about this for a while, but I did put a video out from the event I was at the other night. If you haven't seen it, check it out on the channel. But I put a clip of it on X. And it got Vancouver Canucks fans very salty. And I think this is my new most popular tweet because I put the clip up and they just couldn't handle it. But if you're not following me on X, follow me on X. I'll drop the link in there. It's getting in. The Canucks fans are salty. I'm getting attacked. I'm getting attacked by the Canucks fans for this clip, but it was pretty funny, and yeah, it really hurt them. I've never seen a fan base. Well, I guess the Senators fans, when I was talking about Brady a couple years ago, got very sensitive, but Canucks fans are in full force, like Quinn's gonna be here forever and blah blah blah, and they're getting real upset in response to the Jack clip that I had posted. Ethan says, still upset that there's no suit tonight. Instead, you look like a college frat kid. I was never a frat guy. I definitely was a college guy. I wasn't a frat guy. But if I'm being honest, I am obviously exponentially more comfortable in the college frat kid attire versus a suit. That was circumstantial because I came home from an event that I had the suit on for. But I'm sorry to disappoint you if I look like a college frat kid. M. Sharp, yes, quick from Connecticut, went to my high school, but sent to private school and his talent was recognized. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Our loss, your gain. Hope you love the workhorse you got in Connor Brown. Sounds like you are an Oilers fan, sir, and we will enjoy him. Hopefully he is a big reason Andre Palat can elevate his game and become a regular contributor to this team in the bottom six. And I think Connor Brown is going to help that. And I think Brown's going to be a good addition for the locker room. I think we need a little bit of that, a little more of that veteran presence. And so far, I do like Connor Brown, and we will take good care of him. Yeah, Oilers fans seem to really like him. Bobby, when Nason comes back, where do you slot him in? Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. It is going to be an interesting one. Where does Nason go? I mean, yeah, I don't know. And who gets pushed out? It's going to be an interesting one. Who is getting pushed out? I hope it's not Gritsuk. I feel like that would be just reckless. But it's like, who? Is it going to be Cotter? That would suck. Paulie Cotter getting healthy scratched? I certainly hope not. They're not going to scratch Brown or Palat. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it has to be Paulie almost. That's brutal stuff. Brutal stuff. I wouldn't do it, but where else are you going with that? Joaquin, what would you consider a successful rookie season for Gritsuk in terms of production? So for me, for Gritsuk, assuming he plays in the bottom six most of the season and is in the bottom six most of the season, I still think he's going to get at least some power play 2 looks. If not power play 1 at some point, who knows what how he'll be experimented with as the season goes on. But for Gritsuk in a bottom 6 role, I think 40 points would be amazing. 20-20, 15 and 25, 25 and 15, however you slice it up. I think a 40-point season from Gritsuk would be pretty good. I do think the ceiling is a good chunk higher, but I think that would require more power play time and probably a top 6 role to get to that next level. But in the bottom 6, I think he's capable of putting up 40 points, and I would absolutely love to see it. And that's kind of my marker for him, 40 points. I picked a random picture that I had. Fairly sure it's a picture of the New York Bay at night zoomed in. Okay. Joaquin, really hoping Pesci's okay. Yeah, I think we all are. Mark, Ace, you watching the Yankees right now? MLB playoffs have been good, but the BS calls have been brutal. Bring on the ABS system. Nah, baseball's not for me. I typically will, like, if I wasn't on here right now, I would watch a little bit of the Yankees game, like towards the end. It was 4-0. It's still 4-0. Okay. Yeah. It's just not for me. Yeah, he hates baseball for sure. Larry says, put Gritsuk on Nico's line with Timo on right wing. That would be quite interesting. I would like to see that experimented with. I certainly would like to see that. Krungs, the timing really didn't help because Rutherford once again talked as if Quinn is 100% gone the other day. Yeah, I mean, listen, this all kind of, there was little chatter here and there about Quinn joining the Devils, but it really hit a new level once Rutherford made those statements out in the open. I mean, how could it not? The guy at the end of the season press conference tells everybody, yeah, Quinn wants to play with his brothers. And he's like, and, maybe that's somewhere else, or maybe I bring his brothers here. Like, I thought that was certainly tampering for sure. And in the end, like, I don't even care. I think tampering is kind of stupid in that way. You should be able to say stupid stuff like that. If you want to put your foot in your mouth publicly at a press conference, and he wasn't punished for it in any way. So the league obviously determined that it wasn't tampering, but that's really what got the ball rolling on this nonstop talk about it, was Rutherford saying that. And then obviously everyone ran with it. And then anytime there's microphones near the Hughes brothers, it's brought up in some capacity. And so he kind of started it. And I think it was all kind of I don't want to say tactical move, but I think it was, maybe tactical or deliberate, in that I think he was trying to kind of condition the Canucks fans that, like, we're in the situation where I may not be able to keep this guy and we may have to trade him. Like, if he communicates that he's definitively not going to resign there at some point, if he does say that, and I don't think he said that to the Canucks as of now, to be perfectly honest, I think he's waiting to see how they look this year before he even remotely considers re-signing there. But I do think the Canucks being bad would just completely cement it that he's not staying there. And I even if the Canucks are decent, I don't think he's going to stay there, to be honest. I think he's gone either way. But I think if they're bad, the slim chance they had is completely out the window. But it is going to be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. And obviously, if he's on the block, there will be lots of teams looking to trade for him, even if it is only a short-term rental before he inevitably signs with your New Jersey Devils on July 1, 2027. Four directions. Canucks fans are delusional. Don't want to lose IQ points arguing with them. Traveling Devil, do you think the fan base will be as excited when Quinn arrives as fans were when Lou signed Kovalchuk? Oof. Very good question, Traveling. I'm going to say this, and I'm trying to think how to word this. Obviously, getting Quinn is going to be super exciting for all. And I think in terms of kind of fanfare and buzz and all that other stuff, the Quinn coming to the Devils would be exponentially bigger than Kovalchuk coming to the Devils. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact of just kind of society, right? Kovalchuk, there was obviously social media and stuff back then, but it wasn't to the level that it is now. You're talking about over 15 years ago. That Covey trade was February 4th, 2010. So you're talking, TikTok didn't even exist. That's fairly early on in Twitter, I believe. And I don't even know if Instagram existed then, but it's pretty much prehistoric times in terms of social media. And there was nowhere near as much like in real-time coverage and all the things that you see as a byproduct of social media today with the marketing and the way the teams do all this stuff. That didn't exist back then. And so just that difference alone, in my opinion, makes it vastly different, because we're talking about just different eras in time and society, technology. So there's that. That's kind of the starting point for me in terms of the difference. And then obviously now, because the Hughes brothers name across the league, I think is much bigger than Kovalchuk, it's just going to be a way bigger deal. Now, in terms of my personal excitement, if I'm being honest, I would be more excited about the Kovalchuk one, just because he was in his prime. He was a sniper. It's very different, but I will be certainly super excited for when Quinn does come here. But it's just different eras traveling. And so overall, I think the fan base now, and we are a much younger, I think, fan base now. As those years went on, a lot of younger and newer fans came into the fan base, and a lot of them are kind of these, the kids that grew up with social media and that are on this stuff constantly. And so I do think overall the fan base will be much more excited about the Quinn acquisition. Just a different time period and a slightly different fan base, I do believe, overall. Ethan, do you feel the AHL team can make the playoffs? I mean, I don't know that much, I don't know in-depth AHL, other rosters and things, but just given on the information I know about the Comets alone and that they're going to have a guy in Malik and net who looks like he could be pretty close to being NHL ready or on his way to being NHL ready and being a very good goalie. And then some of the forwards they're going to have, and guys like Haminaho, LaChance, Malofsky, some guys that are probably also pretty close to NHL ready, and along with some potential very good defensemen in Casey, Edwards, D.I. I don't see how they wouldn't make the playoffs. I think it would be a travesty if they didn't make the playoffs with all the talent that they have. Krung's, Fitz's low priority pickups have all been great. Jake Allen, Covey, Brown, Cotter. What a sneaky little team-friendly deal by Jake Allen. What a legend. Brendan says, Cotter center, Grits on left wing, Nason right wing. I don't know if they're going to try Cotter back out at center. We saw it a couple times last year, I think. But it never stuck. It was never a long-term thing. It was always like trial basis, I believe. My computer's messing up here. Reaper Crew Garage, if Grits gets the Calder, I think he'd be the first guy to win KHL Rookie of the Year in the Calder. I mean, let's pump the brakes a little bit. The Calder, I mean, I would love to see it, but I mean, wow. Talk about high expectations. You guys are talking about Calder. That would be amazing. What a storyline that would be, right? That would be absolutely insane. Krungs, I would probably have Nason on his off wing, considering he's more of a upfront on net kind of guy. Justin Ace, who do you think gets the first goal of the year for the Devils? I will go with Bratter. Nico is King says preseason hockey is better than playoff baseball. I completely agree. Tasha, Rutherford was 100% tampering. It was so idiotic. I thought so. Bobby says, would you take out Glass when Nason comes back? There's no chance, Bobby. Glass is a center. We are very kind of deprived in terms of center depth, and so there's no chance Glass is going to be the guy out. It's going to be a winger. Brennan says, whoever our 4C is comes out and Cotter gets a look at C. I mean, that's an interesting thought. That is an interesting thought. Krungs is definitely keeping expectations low. He more or less hasn't said a good thing about Quinn since Quinn said he'll 100% leave. If the Canucks rebuild early last season, it's just, I don't know what that is. Greg, I do think the Canucks will be bad and the team will be pressured to move Quinn early. Oh, man. What a kind of media circus that will become. If the Canucks are bad, all of the talk about Quinn Hughes being dealt, oh, man, I don't it'll be a lot. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of teams that would be interested. And they'll offer some nice packages, even if it's just for the couple years. Tasha, if the Canucks are bad and no playoffs, he's gone for sure. But if they're good, I could see him extending for another year or something. I think the Canucks missing and the Devils making last year put salt in the wound, have kind of made Quinn more partial to coming here. I think he just wants to be here. Both of his brothers are here. They all talked about it. I mean, why wouldn't you? Crumb says Kovalchuk was a light in darkness. Quinn is coming to build a dynasty. That's true. It is true. And I do think, I guess that'd be a hard one to prove. But, man, Kovalchuk was such an era. Such an era, Covey. Nico is King. Canucks behind the scenes are always a mess. Doesn't matter if they're playing well or not. Hard to see any generational defenseman choosing to sign there. I just think he's an American kid. I no offense to Vancouver. I don't think a Western Canadian city is on any of their radars as like the place they want to play. And if both of your brothers are in New Jersey in a place that they like, and there's a lot of fun and exciting stuff for guys their age to do in this area, I mean, it's just kind of a no-brainer and common sense kind of stuff. Tasha, Yankees win. Okay. A lot of you are excited about that. Congratulations to Yankees fans of the New York Yankees. M. Sharp, Quinn can make so much money in a bidding war. A lot of Canucks fans seem to think that they're just going to offer him a ridiculous contract, like $20 million a year times 8 years, and he won't be able to say no. And if they do that, I could see that potentially. I guess that's really their only play, right? I mean, if you offer $20 million times 8 years, like that's the actual number, I think that is very hard for someone to say no. And I guess if they do it, it will break the record probably for at least maybe, if not for, no, it should break both. The highest hockey contract ever and the highest AAV. He'll just break what Kaprizov just signed. What a world. What a new cap era. Bobby, Ace, I know it's nothing major, but I wanted to let you know my grandma passed away and she loved watching your videos with me. You had a 95-year-old lady who loved your videos, you legend. Oh man, Bobby, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's really unfortunate. I hope you had some really good memories with your grandma. 95 is a good run. Sunrise Art Cinema, Quinn is next level defenseman, top 2 in the league. Cannot understate the impact this will have. No, for sure. One of the best. Not only is one of the best defensemen, he's one of the best players in the league. Period. Now, we've talked about it. I would get a little more excited for like a monster winger, like a Tage Thompson type. But I understand kind of how this is all coming together, where we are going to see Quinn Hughes here at some point, and I will be pumped for it. Hopefully, we have the right pieces around them to really make a push and win this cup. Nico is king. Our social media fan base essentially bullied Ray Shiro into signing Gusev. I don't remember that. LJ says, spot on ace with the Covey versus Quinn. Plus, you have to consider that was the first time Devils had landed an offensive player of that magnitude in his prime. Yeah, absolutely. Me and my buddies, I think we went to McDonald's to celebrate. We were like, this is unbelievable. We are getting a top, I don't know, at that time, probably plus or minus a couple spots, but a top 10 offensive player in the league in his prime, something that did not happen historically for the Devils. Like you said, LJ, we've had plenty of big names and Hall of Famers and splashy acquisitions, but they were always kind of, in the second half, the back 9 of their career, I should say, not during their dominant, like, you're going to take over a game like Kovalchuk was doing back then. David, for league marketing, Bettman would do everything he possibly can to have all 3 Hughes brothers with the Devils. It's just a great league story to get more fans. I'm sure the league would have interest in it, no matter where it was. I mean, I don't think they're so high on the Devils per se, but to have all 3 of the Hughes brothers, all very good American players, that is kind of a marketing dream from a team, and I suppose league standpoint as well. It is quite the story. 4 Directions is just cool to see all 3 players together. Same concept as the Stahl brothers. It's great to see things like that. It's a better league-wide story than the Sedin twins. Well, absolutely. That was in Vancouver, again, Western Canada, and they're Swedish. That's not a great American interest story. American boys in an American city is, I think, a much more appealing kind of situation. Taj said, especially a story considering nobody around the league except maybe Devils fans think Grits has any shot for the Calder. Four Direction says, if you see Quinn is being shopped around, you make an offer, even if he is just a rental. Well, I think if he is being shopped, the Devils are almost going to have like first right of refusal probably, because I do think in a spot like that, unless it gets like super contentious and ugly, that the Canucks would try their best to accommodate Quinn to go somewhere where he wants to go, and that obviously would be New Jersey. But if the Devils are not willing to kind of match or exceed some of the other offers other teams have, you could see a world where Quinn is shipped somewhere else and is there for a year and a half or whatever it is, and then comes to the Devils. Small percentage chance he could re-sign wherever, he gets traded to, but I have to think the end game for him is to be here at some point. Bobby, to be fair, Matthews is also American, and yet he keeps re-signing in Toronto and Nyes too. Yeah, but there's a very big difference between, on so many levels, the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Vancouver Canucks. I mean, just geographically, Toronto is a much more desirable city, I think, for a lot of these guys than Vancouver, just off the beginning stages of this, right? Like, Toronto is better than Vancouver in terms of player lifestyle. Then you're talking about what team do you think is closer to the cup? As much as the Leafs get ripped on and everything and how they choke every year, yada, yada, I still believe that the Maple Leafs have a much better chance of winning the cup than the Canucks. So then you're talking about, where the team is at and their true kind of cup dreams. And I would say Toronto is better in that department as well. So, I don't put too much stock into that per se. I mean, not every American kid wants to or has the desire to play in an American city. I do think Toronto is a much more desirable place on every level, like I said, than Vancouver. So I think it's tough to make that comparison. Crumb says Canucks need to go into a full rebuild. They're already a decade too late. M. Sharp, imagine 3 Hughes jerseys are hanging from the rafters in NJ. History and priceless. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, we have to get this guy, number 1. And then number 2, he has to be here a long time and do things that warrant retiring his jersey, which I would love to see. Nothing would make me happier than to get Quinn Hughes at whatever point we get him. And then, for the next 7 years, the Devils to win 2 cups. Like that, I think would be just absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. And then one day to see the jerseys in the rafters, that would be nice. But first we got to get them. And then first we got to do a whole lot of winning. Do a whole lot of winning. Richard said, I said it a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to say it again. Hurt a guy's pride plot, and they respond. I think he has a solid season. I think Palat and Brown are going to do some damage. Pro Bowl, who would you rather have, Tage or Quinn? Come on, man. I think everybody knows that. Four Directions, Kobe back then was a rock star. People forget how big of a, I guess you mean trade. I mean, the signing was afterwards. But yeah, getting Kovalchuk it's probably, I think I've talked about this, but it's probably the most excited I've been for a Devils acquisition probably ever. I think Kovalchuk is number 1 because it was like, wow, we finally got like one of these top guns while they're still a top gun. I mean, it was awesome. Listen, don't get me wrong. Now I'm going way back for the old timers, but like when we got Dave Anderchuk and Gilmore, Hall of Famers that were getting closer to the end. Super exciting to see those guys in Devils jerseys. I'm trying to think who else before that. Gilmore, Anderchuk. Up to that point, maybe Mogilny was one of the bigger ones for me. I was pretty jacked when we got Mogilny. That was a huge one. Before then, yeah, it may have been Mogilny was one of the more exciting ones in Devils history for me during my fandom. And then Kovalchuk was just a different level. And then after Kovalchuk, not for the same reasons, but I was elated when we got Jaromir Jagr. Nowhere near the player that Covey was at the time, right? Jagr was like 38 or 40, however how old he was when we got him, but an all-time legend of the game, a guy I loved watching as a kid when he was on the Penguins and the Caps, and then I hated when he was on the Rangers and Flyers. But Jagr, an all-time legend of the game, one of the best players to ever do it, and to see him at any point of his career wear a Devils jersey was ridiculous. So for that kind of historical and just nostalgia reasons, and he did lead the team in points that one year, I think, which is tragic as like a 40-year-old on some really bad Devils teams. But that Jagr might be the second most exciting. Second or third, maybe Mogilny would still be number 2. But 67 points in 2013-14. 67 points as a 42-year-old. Oh, my God, he's even older than I thought. He was 42. 67 points in 82 games. What a freak of nature. Absolute legend. But Kovalchuk, that trade was crazy. It was just, what an exciting time. And I'll never forget his first game. It was at the Rock. I was there. It was a dramatic comeback win. It was awesome. I should post that. Well, actually, now. Hold on. If you guys want to see something awesome from back in the days, and this makes me feel super old, that I'm looking for a 2010 clip that is 15 years old. Oh, I want the MSG feed though. Oh, here it is. All right, guys, I'm posting a link. This was Ilya Kovalchuk's first game as a Devil. I'm posting it. I just posted a link in the chat. That is like the highlights of the comeback. Completely insane. I posted it in the chat. What a game and what a talent. Ilya Kovalchuk, absolute savage. It's a shame that all ended the way it did. NJ Devil's Blood says, "Oh, plot, please get hot, then sell Mortimer." I think you're going to see Palat all season. And I think he's going to have a little bit of a bounce back. And help get that bottom six producing something. Produce something. Last year was nothing. Pro Bowl says NJ needs another center more than another defenseman, or a top six winger potentially. I wouldn't complain about either one as an upgrade in the tops, or 3C or top six winger would be nice. But the center situation is going to be interesting, especially if Lamico's hurt. Do they try Cotter back there? Is Mercer even a consideration? Anson says plus 5,000 odds for Gritsuk to win the Calder, a $500 pay at 50 to 1, $500 payout on a $10 bet. That's interesting. 50 to 1 for Gritsuk. I'm going to have to look at some hockey futures just because I don't think I did any last year, but the year before I did. RME, that could lower the price for us in a trade. David, should we root against the Canucks so Quinn asks out early out of frustration? I think so. I think that is the move. I love the idea, and I could go, I can see both sides of the argument. And so I'm not going to, I think there's some things that people are blatantly wrong about, but in a situation like this, I certainly understand both sides of the, for the people that are like trade and get Quinn now, and the people that are like, just wait the 2 years and get him for nothing in free agency and don't have to send any assets to Vancouver. I do think there is a tremendous value in getting him now versus the 2 years. It's 2 years of a prime core with the window open to truly win now. I think the window will still be open for several years, even in 2 years from now. But if it's on the table, don't procrastinate. Seize the winning opportunity and try to win now. And getting Quinn Hughes is just another win now move. It would be crazy if we got him this year. What a circus. It'd be something. Jersey Roots says Vancouver has no future. Extremely grim. 4 directions. We can move some of our roosters and get a solid third line center if needed. Our depth on defense is insane. Completely insane. And we may be going to the cupboard already. The defensive cupboard might be plucking somebody out if Pesci is in fact hurt, which would really suck. Tasha says David chimes definitely. I'm rooting for them to suck. Krungs, if you're going to play in Canada, you want to play in Toronto or Montreal, you're a rock star in either of those cities. And it is crazy. People don't realize the difference between major hockey markets and like a place like New Jersey in terms of just how these guys are embraced by the community, the level of fame, I guess I would say. Hockey players in these cities are legit rock stars, and like they're the guys. Most of the guys on the Devils could go about their daily life and for the most part not even get recognized. And it's something that I think a lot of guys enjoy about New Jersey, is that you can live a little bit more of a normal life and have a level of anonymity that you would never have in one of these hockey hotbed markets. Like, do you think Carey Price back in the day was able to just like walk around and go to Starbucks and stuff when he was in Montreal? Like, no way. Absolutely not. That's not something you could do in a place like Montreal. Craig, how long do you think it took for the Devils to recover from Covey quitting? A long time. A pretty long time. We were bad for so long. We missed the playoffs every year after that after going to the Cup Finals until 17-18. And we didn't even deserve to be there, honestly. It took a heroic whole season by Taylor Hall en route to winning the Hart Trophy as the league's MVP, the first and only Hart Trophy winner in Devils history. Taylor Hall dragged that team to the playoffs before Tampa waxed us. M. Sharp, will Luke be better than Quinn? Guys, I hate to be, I don't know what you want to call it. I guess I just have to call it realistic. No, Luke is not going to be better than Quinn. I'm sorry. Quinn is ridiculous. Quinn is absolutely ridiculous. To expect Luke to be better than him is just absurd stuff. I just don't know. I do find it funny that people all the time like to kind of make these lofty comparisons like, Yegorov is the next Marty Brodeur. Like, no, he's not. Like, I'm sorry, he's not. He could be a very good player. He could be a great player. He's not going to be the next Marty. And the reality is, I don't need him to be the next Marty. We don't need the next Marty to win a cup. Sure, it would be an amazing luxury to have, but there's not going to be another Marty. Likewise, to think that Luke's going to be better than Quinn, like, kind of wild stuff. We don't need Luke to be better than Quinn. Just be the best version of yourself. Be very good. Just be very good. Be a great player. But Quinn has the potential to go down as an all-time great. I think to expect Luke to be better than that is just like, come on. Let's be fair here. You could be a perennial all-star level defenseman and still kind of be way below Quinn because Quinn is that good. David says, when we got Stevens as compensation for losing Shanahan, got me pumped. Before my time, obviously very familiar with the story, and it is crazy to think that Lou had the foresight. The Blues were offering, I believe it was Rod Brindamore and Curtis Joseph as compensation for that. They're like, take Rod Brindamore and Curtis Joseph, and Lou was like, no, I want Stevens. Like, that is franchise-altering stuff. Like, no exaggeration. That single business dealing where Lou was demanding Stevens, like, you could trace, I mean, there's other things you could do with this as well, but single biggest event in changing the trajectory of a franchise is Lou saying, no, I don't want Brindamore and Cujo, who were both very good players even at the time. I want Stevens, and demanding to get Stevens. We may not have any cups without Scott Stevens. Point blank. The whole dynasty may have never happened. Oh, Anson is talking about when Covey beat up Braden Shen. He out-muscled him with his legs. Yeah, Covey was a horse. People didn't realize. I think he was like 6'4". Let me see. Monster of a man. Crazy speed. Yeah, Covey was just so 6'3", 222. Just pure muscle, an absolute horse. Super powerful lower body. Yeah, and you could see he was just, what a great fight. Look that up on YouTube for those that haven't seen it. Look up Kovalchuk Shen. And Kovalchuk just flattens him with a punch. Love to see when Kovalchuk went crazy because he was a beast. The Four Directions says, I actually got a Yager jersey. He actually had a great season with us. Yeah, he led the team in points as a 42-year-old man. Guy was an absolute freak of nature. The stories about his conditioning and all the things he used to do. I mean, just talk about dedication to the game. Jaromir Jagr is from another planet. He's still playing professionally. I think he just got hurt, actually. I thought I saw. Trying to see something here. Yeah, I wish Jagr stayed here a little bit longer. Some of those seasons when we sucked, watching him and Marty every night was still something like knowing you're witnessing all-time greats. What an era. What an era. Bobby says, all right, Fitz, make this happen. In 2 years, snag Quinn, and the following year, pick up Matthews. I mean, that's not going to happen, but I do think Quinn will be here. M. Sharp. The St. Louis Blues, they tampered with Brendan Shanahan. It was found out that they tampered with Shanahan, and the Devils were owed compensation. And they tried to offer Curtis Joseph, very good goalie, and Rod Brindamore, good forward. And Lou Lamoriello was like, nah, we want Scott Stevens. And the rest is history, as they say. The rest is history. Greg Orlando says Covey and Parisi on the shootout were unstoppable. Yeah, that year or two, we had a great shootout record because Covey and Parisi were just ridiculous. And I forget who else was on those teams that were also good in the shootout. But those were some fun years. Yeah. And the 2012 run was magical. That one always haunts me. If the Devils could have just won one of those first two games against LA at the Rock, I think the whole series would have been different. We would have had a chance to win, but it was not on the cards. Corey, Grits and Cotter looking good together. Cottage cheese and grits, the new PB&J. For however long it stays together. But I do think this could be a very good, very, very good fourth line. Grits and Cotter is very interesting. I'm super excited. I don't know that I've been this excited about a fourth line in quite some time. I'd have to really think about it. But Grits and Cotter together, I think, could really, really be special and give us that real spark in the bottom six that we've been looking for a while. And likewise with Brown and Pally. Are we going to see the best version of Palat in a bottom six role, just getting it done? Lots of things to be excited about on the season, guys. I mean, wow. Again, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself. I'm not trying to get too fired up, but we're going to learn a lot about this team early because that October schedule is brutal. Krungs, I can't think we get him now without trading Dougie, and he has a no move clause. I think depending on where it was, I do think the Dougie trade, I think, could be facilitated. Whether it's directly to Vancouver in that deal or part of a separate deal to make the cap space work. But I do think they could figure it out if they want to. But I think it requires the Canucks being in a horrible spot for it to happen this season, for the Canucks to be in a terrible spot towards the trade deadline for it to even be a real discussion. Jeter Toker, the game-winning goal was Pando's last goal as a Devil. Forgot he was still around in 2010. Oh, yeah, you must have clicked on the video. Yeah, if you haven't seen the video that I was talking about, if you want to get a little Kovalchuk backstory or the beginning of it as a Devil, the video I pinned in the comments at the top there is Kovalchuk's first game as a Devil, and it was an epic comeback against the Maple Leafs, and Kovalchuk had a hand in it. It's what a time. What a time to be alive. Ryder. I don't know how many bad luck pops on Nemitz's bingo card we hit tonight, but the kid looks really good back there. Yeah, Nemitz. I think he's here to stay. I think he got that confidence boost he needed in the playoffs. And I think we have an NHL defenseman from here on out in Nemitz. Looking for a big season from him. Samuel, it's all about what you have to pay for Quinn. Some other fans are talking about, they're going to offer him like $20 million times 8 years or something. And I guess at that point, despite him wanting to play with his brothers, that's a lot of money to turn down. And that might be able to get him to stay there. $20 million. The hockey contracts getting crazy, kids. They're getting crazy. Just Rody says, great win tonight versus the Rangers. Aaron, imagine Covey in his prime on the ice with Jack. Nobody would ever touch Jack. Covey playing with Jack is like crazy dreams. Crazy, crazy dreams. Four Direction says Luke won't be better than Quinn. Quinn is in a league of his own. I mean, yeah, why does he have to be better than Quinn? Just be very good. Be very good to great, and I think Luke will. And it's no insult to be like, he's not going to be better than Quinn. Quinn is probably going to go down as like an all-time great defenseman. I mean, to not be as good as Quinn is more than okay. It is okay. SJ says, I remember that game versus the Leafs. Husky, 120 watching, 58 likes. Clowntown, smash the like. Those are brutal stats. I don't see them till the end, but you guys always remind me. Thanks, Husky. Yo, hit the like for your boy. It takes half a second. Stop being so stingy with the likes. This is crazy now. Hit the like button already. Lost my spot. Covey was a savage for sure. Tasha, he's in a league of two, him and Makar. Yeah, they're ridiculous, the two of them. And then you have the other, explosive offensive defensemen like the Bouchards of the world, Werenski. Four Directions. Stevens was the glue. He was the general. That's one of the last guys I'd want to share the ice with on the other team, for sure. A one-man wrecking crew was always in the heads of the other team because you knew you had to pay attention because when number 4 is out there, you make the wrong play or you lose focus for a minute and you lose track of where this man is. The next thing you know, you might be on your back looking up at you're seeing birdies. He was that good. Just changing the way people played and keeping them scared. Don't come into that middle of the ice because Scotty catches you. Poof. You're going to get crunched. I'm sure I've just watched that link you posted of the comeback game. What a treat. Oh, man. I watched it a couple weeks ago, actually. I forget what inspired me to do so, but it is a great comeback in the regular season. Devil Heaven says it's early, but I'm feeling awesome. Yeah, so am I. And a lot of it has to do with it's just a new season, a fresh start, and just hopes and dreams for a great season. And hopefully this team starts out strong because that October schedule is brutal. Completely brutal. Samuel says, Paulie too good for a fourth liner. I understand where to some extent I agree as well, but I'm all about, where do you put him to get the most out of the entire roster? And obviously the top 6, there's just so many guys they could try out there, but they're starting off with Mercer and Dodonov. So, could he play his way up to the third line? I don't know. I think in the end, the main objective for Keefe here is going to be like, how can I get 4 lines that can all contribute? And if the lineup or the line combinations as they're going to start the season with end up clicking and working out where we're getting balanced scoring, I think we'll see them stick together. Krungs, I could honestly envision his line going to the third, but Cotter's just one of those dudes who can play anywhere you slot him. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting thought, right? Could the third and fourth line swap? Brown and Pally on the fourth? I mean, we'll see. RME says Luke and Quinn are different players. Luke is better on D, but obviously way less lethal on offense right now. Ryder, I said it earlier, but Grits and Cotter on the fourth line will make competition look silly, and I'm pumped for it. Yeah, I think they're gonna be a matchup nightmare because they're two guys that have, I'll call it at minimum potential top 6 skill, and now you're out there as a fourth line with that speed. I could see them certainly wreaking havoc regularly and making people look silly. What a play we saw them connect on tonight. Aaron, can't wait to see all 3 brothers in Devils jerseys on the ice together on the power play. That'd be a dream come true. I talked about that before. Will they throw all 3 of them out there on the same power play? I'd imagine at some point you would see it. Maybe not every time. And typically nowadays you see only one defenseman on power play units. But because of the types of players they are, I don't see how we wouldn't see it at least sometimes of all 3 Hughes brothers on the power play. Samuel, it's still all about the first month. We will see. Peter, what happened to Pesce? Did not come out for the third period, got hurt. And we are all hoping that he's not going to miss any time because that would be a massive, massive hit to this team. And a team that has just been so cursed with injuries the past couple seasons. It really is just so annoying. And it's annoying to have to keep talking about it. And, you know, it's all unfortunate. But we have some depth on D. And hopefully if Pesce does miss some time, Seamus Casey or maybe Edwards are able to fill in admirably for while he's out. Why is the National Hockey League to a point being unrecognized amongst the top 4 organizations? Well, I mean, I would still say they're firmly in the top 4 in no particular order. You know, MLB, baseball, NFL, football, NBA, basketball, and then hockey. But yeah, there are, I guess, like a soccer league or something. Is that what you're referring to? Like supplanting hockey as like the 4 main sports. I do think the NHL has been growing its ratings and everything, you know, over the years. Obviously, they're doing well financially. The cap is going up. I think the TV ratings have been good. Obviously, ticket sales and merch and all of that. But soccer is obviously a massive sport. I just think that MLS is, from my knowledge of soccer, MLS is nowhere near a top-level league in the world, which would prevent it from probably breaking into that top 4 conversation. David, I rewatched the entire 95 Cup final this summer. I've changed my mind. That is the greatest Devil team of all time. Watch it. I've never seen better defense and team play my whole 45 years of fandom. It's tough. I think skill-wise, you would have to still go 2000. But if you're talking about like the cohesive team and just like stifling play, that 95 team is David, they could be up there all time, honestly. The entire media and all the experts picked the Devils to get swept. And they swept the Wings. Not only did they beat the Wings, they pulled the sweep. The 4 directions, Jack needs to stay healthy now. He's not played a full season yet. I understand most guys are banged up in the playoffs, but these guys are banged up way before the playoffs. Yeah, it's a broken record. We all know. He's got to stay healthy. This is the year. Would love to see him play 82 or 75. I'd be happy with. 75 games would be nice. I want to see like 120 points out of Jack. It's going to happen eventually. I would love to see it this year. Imagine Jack just pops off for a 120-point season. That'd be sick. Ryder came in late and have to bounce, but I feel really good about this team. Maybe the best I felt in years. Let's go, boys. Be good all. Good night. Samuel, I love the game tonight, but still need to see more shots on goal. I agree. I think we'll see it in the next one. And when the intensity's ratcheted up, regular season. Aaron, Devils win and Yankees win. I can sleep tonight. Good night, Ace. I'm entertained. Good night, Aaron. 4 directions if we can get to the playoffs rather healthy. Looked up out. Yeah. Health is the biggest question mark. If this team stays healthy, the sky is the limit. And again, not to celebrate a man's injury because that's not what I'm doing here, but the fact that the Panthers are going to be without Barkov, oof. The champs are vulnerable, my friends. The champs are vulnerable, and what Eastern Conference team is going to dethrone them? What team is going to dethrone them? Because they're going to be there for the taking. Richard, 95 team, if they went up 2-0, it was game over. Not only the 95 team, Richard, I feel like it was, for years during that era. If we had a 2-goal lead with Marty and net and the defense we had, it was definitely lights out. A 2-goal lead, they probably would win. I wonder if that's something we could look up. I'd imagine probably from like 95 to, even if you go to like probably 05 or 06, I'd imagine the Devils probably won 97% of games that they had a 2-goal lead in. Forget 2-0, any 2-goal lead, but 2-0 as well. David, rewatch the 95 series. It's a work of art, and that was an amazing Wings team. Gave them almost nothing all series. Yeah, that Wings team was loaded. And it kind of was the beginning, I think, in terms of setting up the Wings for their future little dynasty that I would say they had. Them losing to the Devils in that 95 Cup Finals, I would say, was kind of the equivalent of like the Devils losing in the Eastern Conference Finals the year before, 1994, against the Rangers in Game 7. That was like their building moment. Like, we got so far, we see what we could do. We kind of learned a lot in this whole process, took a stunning, painful loss, and then used that experience to build off of to win subsequent cups. And after that Wings team lost, they won in 97, 98, and then I think they won in what was the other one they won with Yzerman? Was that was it 04? 02. Yeah, 97, 98, and 02. But what a great team the Devils beat. Samuel says, I never want to hear if we stay healthy again. I know, but the reality is it's the world we're living in. I mean, injuries are part of the sport. They've plagued the Devils for a couple years, and we need to just weather the storm, stay healthy, and go on a deep run. Four Direction says it's a fact. Florida's banged up 3 straight finals. You can't tell me these guys aren't feeling the mileage. Getting to 1 Cup Finals hard, never mind 3 in a row. Yeah. Going through the wars of the NHL playoffs. 3 finals in a row and 2 Cup victories to show for it. Connor McDavid must hate them so much. Anson says Marty always gets pushed down on greatest of all time polls because of the trap. It's always between Hasek and Waugh. Yeah, it's nonsense. Marty doesn't get his due credit, in my opinion. And a lot of people forget that a lot of, they talk about the shot volume and stuff, and it obviously was a product of a very good defense and the style the Devils played for a while. But Marty also having the skill set that he did with his ability to play the puck before they made the trapezoid rule, literally to cut down on his skill and impact on a game. He was like a third defenseman. He would come out and grab pucks everywhere and make outlet passes, flip it off the boards, flip it up the ice, do whatever it was to cut down on shots against. That is a testament to Marty's insane level of puck handling ability. But he doesn't get credit for that from most. Very knowledgeable fans and commentators, whatever, will talk about that. But a lot of that was Marty's skill. His puck handling was everything. David says, Devils 16-4 in the playoffs. Only series challenges Flyers, taking us to 6. Yeah, some amazing Scott Stevens, Eric Lindros battles in that 1995 Eastern Conference Finals. Devil Heaven 77. Flyers are Saturday afternoon. Let's bring our rivals back. Yeah, I think, a lot of the rivalry had to do with the fact that we played in the playoffs multiple times in those years. The Stevens-Lindros rivalry was great. Both teams were pretty good overall, and so that will obviously add to the rivalry. When you're good and then you have these physical altercations regularly, it all comes together to make the rivalry that much better. And the Devils Flyers was my second favorite rivalry, only to the Devils Rangers rivalry back then. The Devils Flyers were for years and years, they were some physical games. Four directions. Imagine losing 2 cup finals in a row. Would love to be a fly on the wall in that room after losing again. Probably brutal, man. Brutal. Richard says, Anson, Marty is the greatest, and I take Richter over Hasek and Wah. Sunrise, Marty's best skill set was his calmness under pressure. Could be Game 7 Stanley Cup Finals overtime, and he was smiling, but focused as anyone. GOAT. Yeah, I think the only game, that Game 7 in 01, he didn't have a great game, but, man, that's another one. The 2001 Cup is one that stings for sure. That would have been a really nice one to win. Would have been back-to-back Cup champs. Marty would have had an extra one over Wah, the head-to-head Cup. But it wasn't meant to be. Anyone have anything else? I'm going to start wrapping it up here. I got a couple things to do before I pass out. Oh, these Canucks fans are getting salty on X, folks. They're blowing it up. I'll have to read all this later. Yeah, the Canucks fans are 3 hours behind, so I think they all finished dinner and they all started attacking me for posting that clip of Jack talking about Quinn coming to the Devils. Oh, man. It's pretty funny. Richard said, couldn't stand the Flyers, but I always thought John LeClair would have been a great Devil. Yeah. Loved his game, too. Another big physical power forward, American. Obviously, guys that were on the 96 World Cup team, those were like the American heroes to me when I was a kid. John LeClair, one of them, a beast, even though he was on a rival NHL team. Just like I had to root for Mike Richter in net. Was kind of strange as a child, but country over everything. Team USA, 1996 World Cup. Look that up if you haven't seen any of that stuff. I can't see the X link. Yeah, I'm going to watch all the did they post the stuff yet? I was messing around with stuff I had to do on here. So I haven't seen any of the videos the Devils may have put out just yet. But you guys know I love Paulie. I think it's going to be a big year for him. Contract year, trying to really establish himself on this team. Come on. This is the tweet that sent the Canucks fans into rage. Oh, no. The hell was that? That's not it. Sorry, folks. It didn't paste. I had a long day. It's been a very, very long day. All right. There's the tweet that sent with the Jack video that sent them into a complete tailspin. Complete tailspin. Devil inside just talked to Lindros. He's in a wheel. No, he's not in a wheelchair. Anson, got to go watch this Cotter locker room interview next. Richard, all right, kids, have to take Tums and hit the rack. Great job, Ace. Good night, Richard. Thank you. Devil Heaven, Scotty, bringing him Boston cream pie, 3 cups, 8 years. All right. I think that's it. I think that's all she wrote. Trying to think if there's anything else. Is there anything else? I think that's it, guys. Saturday afternoon against the Flyers, last preseason game, and then we gear up for the regular season. I'm fired up. A week away. 1 week away from opening up the season in Raleigh. That's it. But Gritsuk, guys. Gritsuk. Lots to be excited about. Lots to be excited about. This bottom 6 may finally be in a place where they could just get it done. Getting it done. Connor, Brown, and Palat. And then the little tandem of Gritsuk and Cotter. Love to see it, but I'll be back soon. Lots of things in the work as always. Hit the like on your way out. I think that's it. If you haven't seen the Jack video, the thing I just posted on X is a little clip of it. But if you go to the channel, it's the most recent regular video. Is the whole it's like a 2-minute clip where he talks about Luke as well. Terrible quality video, but the lighting in the room and the angle and everything was terrible. It was either that or nothing. So you take that grainy crap video. But it is a pretty funny kind of clip from Jack. All right, that's it, guys. Back soon. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go.